So in the previous video we had discussed about hydrograph. I have discussed about several components of hydrograph also. Rising limb, which is the increase of discharge in the river, and falling limb or recession limb, which is the decrease in the discharge of the river. So whenever there is some rainfall that has happened, because of that the discharge will increase in the stream or the river. So which basically gives you an idea of how much direct runoff is there, how much the water is flowing on the top of the surface and it reaches the river, right? So we had discussed about this. The next is, as you can see, previously I had explained you that there are different components of runoff. One is direct runoff or the overland flow. Then there is a subsurface runoff, the water that is flowing beneath the surface laterally. Then there is a flow from the groundwater to the river, which is called as base flow, right? So here I told you that these are the three components which will create the discharge in your river or in your stream. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll try to separate out the base flow from the direct runoff. Okay, so I am interested to find out how much is the increase in the discharge only because of the direct runoff. I'm not interested to know how much is the water that is coming from the groundwater, which is base flow. Okay, so because of that there are three methods through which we could be able to separate the base flow. This is how we try to separate the base flow from the direct runoff, which is a combination of overland flow and the subsurface runoff. So there are three methods through which we can separate the base flow. I'll explain why we are separating this also. Okay, in future we are going to analyze the storm only based on the direct runoff. You try to imagine this. Whenever there is a situation of flood, the flood is the direct result of the direct runoff, the water that is flowing on the surface. So the water that is flowing from the groundwater will not contribute much to the flood situation. The flood situation is basically because of the direct runoff, the water that is flowing from the top surface and the subsurface. So what engineers thought to do is that at any given stream, if I have to calculate how much is the discharge, how much of the discharge is coming from the direct runoff, what we need to do is that we need to measure the discharge at before the rainfall period, and we have to keep on noting the discharge after the rainfall period also, so that we can understand how much was the normal flow. Normal flow means the water without the water that was flowing in the river before the rainfall also, which was contributed from the base flow itself, right? And if we try to study this, we could be able to understand how much is the water that is going to cause the flood. Okay, so this is what our understanding as an engineers. So what we do is that we try to separate out the base flow from the direct runoff. As you can see in the given figure, there are three methods through which we are doing it. Okay, several engineers based on the catchment area define their own method of base flow separation. Okay, so these are some of the widely used methods of separating the base flow from the hydrograph or from the discharge. But based on the catchment area, based on the condition of catchment area, you can define your own way of dealing with the base flow, how to separate the base flow. Okay, giving you an example about catchment area, there are several factors which are contributing to the direct runoff and subsurface runoff. If the entire catchment area is thickly vegetative, okay, so the direct runoff is nearly minimum, right? It's very less, the direct runoff that is coming. So here the base flow will be greater. So when you look into the hydrograph, what you need to do is that you need to identify how much of that is from direct runoff. So based on the type of catchment area, based on the terrain conditions, based on several other reasons, like for example climatological reasons, all the reasons that I explained earlier for runoff, all the factors that are explained before for runoff, they will be applicable in determining the base flow also. Okay, anyhow, so let us discuss about three methods through which we can separate out the base flow. First method is to draw a constant discharge method. Okay, so what I do is that you can see this is the hydrograph that I have. Okay, this is the depth of flow, or you can say, sorry, the discharge in the river before there is any rainfall. Okay, so once there is a rainfall, because of that rainfall you can see that the discharge in the river is increasing and it reaches some peak point, and then again it gets reduced. Okay, so what we understand is that the increase, this rising limb, the initial point of the rising limb, and then what we do is that we draw a constant discharge line. So whatever this point was there, the point from where the rising limb begins, from there we draw a straight line. Okay, straight line such that it goes and intersects with the recession curve. This is your rising curve, this is your falling curve or recession curve. So you have to select a point where the rising has just begun. Okay, so there you have to draw a straight line. From there you have to draw a straight line such that it intersects with the falling limb of the hydrograph. Okay, so whatever the discharge that you see above this line, this dotted straight line, will represent the direct runoff, and whatever the discharge that is below this constant line is represented by base flow. Okay, so this is one method. Next method is that going with the constant slope method. So constant slope method is adapted by finding out the peak. First we need to find out how much is the peak, then I have to find out how much is value of n. N represents the number of days. Okay, so if for example if this is in terms of time is in terms of days, or it will be in terms of hours or anything like that. So what you do is, A is the catchment area multiplied by some constant is there, which is not written here, some constant which is basically depending upon the type of the catchment area that we have. So constant K multiplied by A raised to 0.2. Okay, A is the area of the area of the catchment area. Now if you multiply the constant and then you multiply with the A raised to 0.2, you will get to know some value. So this value will be in terms of number of days. So from the peak to this point you have to draw this point where you will have this number of days. So you have to measure the number of days, like for example if it is 1 day, so it means 24 hours. So if this time is in terms of hour, you have to start from the peak point and you have to go in this direction till you reach 24 hours. So at 24 hours you have to draw a perpendicular to this x-axis and it reaches to this point. Okay, so this point will represent you the end of direct runoff. This is what this method says you. So you need to point this. Okay, at this point you will have the end of your direct runoff. So the beginning of the rising limb, and to this point where the direct runoff ends, we need to draw the straight line. Okay, now earlier I had drawn a line like this, now it is having an inclined line touching over here. So this entire area will become base flow, and whatever the area is above this inclined line will become the direct runoff. So this is another method in which we are trying to separate out the base flow and the direct runoff. Now going to concave method, they say this is most realistic one. The project hydrograph trend from minimum discharge value immediately prior to the beginning of the storm hydrograph to directly beneath the hydrograph peak, connect that point to inflection point on the rising limb of the storm hydrograph. So what we do is that if this is a point, at this point I draw a tangent like this. Okay, this is a point where the rising has just begun. Okay, so at this point I'll draw a tangent. Okay, then what I do is that I'll drop a vertical from the peak. Okay, so this tangent that I am drawing from here would intersect with the line connecting from the peak, the perpendicular that I have drawn to the x-axis connecting the peak. So there will be a line here, so it touches somewhere here. Okay, then from here I have to connect an inclined line to this inflection point, the point where the direct runoff will end. Okay, so like this I can connect and the area beneath this line, this will become base flow, and the area above this line this line will become your direct runoff. So these are the different these are the three methods which can be adapted to separate out the base flow. The first one is to draw a horizontal line from the rising point, the point from where the rise of discharge will begin. Next is to find out this inflection point, the point where the direct runoff will end. So this is calculated by this value called n is equals to k into a raised to 0.2. So here you know how to solve this n value. N value is equals to k into a raised to 0.2. From that you calculate how much is number of days. Then what you do is that from your peak time, the time where you have the peak, from there you will measure the number of days which you calculated. Then you drop the vertical Fourier so that it touches the falling curve or recession curve, and you say this as your inflection point where your direct runoff becomes 0, okay, from where the base flow will start, right? So this line is connected by the beginning of the rising limb, so this becomes another method. So I told you already the third method. What is the third method? You have to draw a tangent at this point so that it touches to the vertical line drawn from the peak, okay. Then the intersection of the vertical from the peak and this tangent, at this intersection it will be connected by another inclined line to the inflection point. So this line becomes your separation of base flow, and this is your third method. So these are the three methods from which base flow separation can be done, and based on the type of catchment area we have, based on the seriousness of determining the direct runoff, you can choose whichever base flow separation method that you want, okay. Next, going with unit hydrograph. So before I explain you what is unit hydrograph, I would like to explain you with respect to a problem, okay. So we will take a problem, we will try to understand that problem. So from that problem we will try to identify what is unit hydrograph, okay. I will come back to the unit hydrograph once I explain you that problem. I could have explained you the unit hydrograph theoretically, but I thought it will be quite difficult for you to imagine what is this hydrograph, unit hydrograph is, and what is the importance of unit hydrograph and all of those things. So to explain you with the numerical problem, so that you could be able to imagine what basically is your unit hydrograph and why we use it, okay. So what I'll do here is, this is a problem that is given to you. You can solve this problem by yourself, okay. Note down this and then you try to solve the things, okay. Now here what we'll do is, first I'll read the problem that is given to you. Derive the unit hydrograph for a drainage basin of area 104 square kilometer from the observed total runoff hydrograph given, okay. So here in this they'll give you only time and runoff values, okay. So they give you time and runoff values. You need to determine what is base flow, direct runoff and ordinate of unit hydrograph, okay. We'll come to all of these columns later. First what I'll do is, first I'll simply show you what is your hydrograph is, okay. Now let us try to analyze this hydrograph. Here in this hydrograph you can see that at time t is equals to 0 the discharge value is 100, at time t is equals to 2 the discharge value is 100, but when you go to time t is equals to 4, at 4th hour we have discharge of 300. So similarly at the 6th hour it is 700, at 8th hour it is 100. So when you reach at 8, this is your peak value, okay. So the maximum discharge that you can see in the stream because of the rainfall is 100, okay. So after that it is getting reduced, it is reduced to 800, 600, 400, 300 like this, okay. Then it becomes 100 and 100. So from here what I can assume is that because of some rainfall there was an increase in the discharge in the stream, and afterwards before the hydrograph's rising limb the discharge in the river was 100, and after the end of the falling limb the discharge is remaining 100. So it means what, I can say that before the rainfall the discharge in the river was 100 itself, right. So after the end of the rainfall, after the end of the peak and after the recession limb, So again the discharge in the river has become 100. So it basically means that the contribution of the groundwater to the river is 100. Okay, so I'll consider that this is supposed to be my base flow. Okay, so here what I'll do is I'll separate the base flow by considering that 100 as the value of my base flow. Okay, and I'll keep it constant. So 100 I'll kept it constant. So it means what, from this point I have drawn a horizontal line. Okay, so let's see that. So this is your base flow. Okay, now if I have to draw a horizontal line from here to here, so this becomes my base flow. Now I have separated the base flow and the hydrograph, right? So if this separation is done, this top portion will represent your direct runoff hydrograph. Okay, so direct runoff hydrograph is representing the water that is coming only because of the overland flow and subsurface flow, because I have derived base flow from this. Okay, now this is how I have separated. Separation is done by the constant discharge method. There are three methods that I explained. So one is a constant inclined method, constant discharge method, and the other one is concave method. So I am going to adapt here in this given problem the constant discharge method, my constant discharge being 100. So I kept 100. So because of that I have drawn horizontal line. From this I have derived my base flow hydrograph and direct runoff hydrograph. Okay, now what I'll do next thing is that I'll go to only direct runoff hydrograph. I won't eliminate these two. I don't want base flow from the hydrograph, so I'm considering only direct runoff. Okay, so from the direct runoff, as you can see, there is no base flow now. Okay, so how do I find out the ordinates of the direct runoff hydrograph? Whatever the value of runoff was there, that runoff is deducted by the base flow. Okay, so like for example, at time t is equals to 0, the runoff was 100, so my base flow is also 100, so the direct runoff is equals to 0. Now similarly, at time t is equals to 4, the runoff is 300 but the base flow is 100, so my direct runoff will become 200. Now similarly, we can calculate the value of the ordinates of direct runoff. Okay, now you can see, I'll just try to show you. Okay, you can see that at time t is equals to 4, my value of discharge is 200. So at time t is equals to 6, the value of discharge from the direct runoff is 600. So basically this hydrograph gives you the discharge that is coming only from the, this discharge is directly coming only from the overland flow and subsurface flow. Okay, so once I calculate the ordinates of direct runoff, next thing is to calculate the unit hydrograph. So before we go to the ordinates of unit hydrograph, so what I'll do is, as you know, you understood what is the meaning of hydrograph. Hydrograph represents the ordinates of discharges versus the time. Okay, so the ordinates of hydrograph consists of both base flow and direct runoff. Okay, now if I separate out the base flow, whatever the ordinates that I get are the ordinates of direct runoff. So this is representing the ordinates or the discharges in case of only direct runoff, where I'm deducting the base flow. Okay, so once I achieve this, the next is to calculate the unit hydrograph. So to understand the unit hydrograph, we'll again go back to the PPT. Okay, now see here. Now what unit hydrograph says is that if there is 1 centimeter or 1 mm, you can use whichever unit you want. Okay, in this he is saying that 1 mm. So assume that there is 1 mm of rainfall that has evenly happened. Okay, so this is excess rainfall. Excess rainfall means effective rainfall after the removal of all the abstractions. Okay, after the infiltration, evaporation, transpiration, ET and everything. So the excess rainfall means the water that is actually flowing on the surface is called as excess rainfall or effective rainfall, we call it as. Okay, so if the effective rainfall is equals to 1 mm, okay, and which is evenly distributed over the entire catchment area, okay, whatever the ordinates that you see in, or the discharge that you see in the stream is called as unit hydrograph. Okay, this is what unit hydrograph is. Now some of the things that I would like to briefly discuss is that time TB, this is called as base time. Base time means what? Beginning of the unit hydrograph and end of the unit hydrograph. That is the total duration of the unit hydrograph. Okay. Now going to TP. TP is the time that is taken to reach to the peak of your unit hydrograph. Okay, from the rise of the from the point where the rise of the unit hydrograph starts. Okay, now time T lag is there, you can see from this figure. So if this is your hydrograph is representing the rainfall. Okay, so whatever the centroid of the hydrograph is there, from there to the peak point, if I measure the time, so this time is called as T lag. So you try to imagine what is lag period is. Okay, the time from the maximum rainfall to the time where you can see the maximum discharge in the river is called as time lag. Okay, so even though there is a huge rainfall that is happening at this period, so immediately you will not see the maximum discharge in your stream. Okay, it will take a time. This time is called as lag time. So lag time is basically a defining moment. If you find the maximum discharge at any time t, you would like to find out how much is the time from the maximum rainfall to find out the maximum discharge in the stream. Okay, so we need to define that period, the period where you can see the maximum discharge because of the maximum rainfall that has happened at any given time. Okay, so this is called as a T lag. Now I'll give another one. I'll try to explain one more time what is unit hydrograph. Unit hydrograph is basically there is a unit rainfall that has happened. Unit rainfall may be of 1 mm, 1 centimeter, or anything that you define. So if there is 1 centimeter of rainfall that has happened evenly on the catchment area, after all the abstractions like infiltration, evaporation, evapotranspiration, everything has been removed. So the excess rainfall or the effective rainfall is distributed, this is 1 centimeter, is distributed evenly on the catchment area, and then whatever the discharges that you measure in the stream, if they are plotted, is represented by unit hydrograph. Now the question is, it is practically impossible to create an effective rainfall of 1 centimeter on the catchment area. So it's practically impossible for us to determine this unit hydrograph. But basically this unit hydrograph is derived. It is derived from the storm hydrograph itself. Okay, so I'll explain you how this hydrograph is derived. Okay, now what we'll do is we'll go to again. So using the same problem, I had explained you what is hydrograph, what is base flow, and how do we separate the base flow, and the result of separating the hydrograph from the base flow will result into direct runoff. Direct runoff is represented by the water that is flowing on the top surface and subsurface flow. This is what we had discussed previously, and I also explained you what is hydrograph is. So hydrograph is basically if there is a 1 centimeter excess rainfall, effective rainfall that has happened over the entire catchment area, the result of ordinates of hydrograph are represented by unit hydrograph. Unit hydrograph represents that there is a unit effective rainfall, that is 1 centimeter, 1 mm, or anything that you consider. So if there is 1 centimeter of effective rainfall, the resulting ordinates from the hydrograph are called as unit hydrograph. Okay, now you try to imagine that in the previously I had explained you that it is impossible for us to to practically have 1 centimeter of excess rainfall and to measure the ordinates that are going to be observed in your stream gauge station for 1 centimeter of excess rainfall, right? So what we do is unit hydrographs are basically derived from the direct runoff hydrographs. Okay, so previously from the same problem I had derived the direct runoff hydrographs. Okay, so these are the ordinates which are representing the direct runoff, the water that is coming from the overland and from the subsurface flow. So what we did was we have deducted the base flow from the ordinates of hydrograph and we calculated the ordinates of direct runoff hydrograph. Okay, now the next thing is to find out what is ordinates of unit hydrograph. To solve the ordinates of unit hydrograph, what we can do is that we first need to find out how much is the effective rainfall. So how to solve the effective rainfall? Effective rainfall is nothing but the deduction of all the abstractions from the rainfall. Okay, so if you deduct all the abstractions like infiltration, evapotranspiration, evaporation from the rainfall, whatever is left is nothing but the water that is flowing on the surface and subsurface, which is called direct runoff hydrograph, right? So here what we'll do is, if I calculate the area of this direct runoff hydrograph, it will give me how much is the volume of water that was flowing on the top of the surface, okay, which is nothing but your effective rainfall, right? So effective rainfall is nothing but the water that is getting converted into runoff, right? So both are synonyms, effective rainfall and the runoff, direct runoff, okay? So direct runoff is nothing but the area of this, okay? If I calculate what is the area of this, it will give me the volume of water that is flowing on the top surface, which is nothing but your runoff. So runoff can be either represented in volume or it is represented in terms of centimeter, okay? We basically prefer to represent that in terms of centimeter itself. So effective rainfall will be also in terms of centimeter. So your direct runoff should be also calculated in terms of centimeter only. So how to calculate this runoff depth? So this runoff depth or effective rainfall is calculated by this, okay? Now what we'll do is we'll take the sum of all the ordinates of direct runoff, okay? So I have calculated here, which is sum of all the ordinates of direct runoff. Now this is represented in terms of meter cube per second, okay? Now you assume if I want to calculate how much is the volume of water that was flowing in any interval, okay? This interval is how much? This is 2 hours interval, okay? The ordinates are measured at every 2 intervals. So you measure first at 2 hours and then you go for 4th hour. So the time in terms of seconds, let me calculate how much it is. So if I have to calculate how much is the time in seconds between one interval, it will be 60 into 60 into 2, which is the total number of seconds within any interval, okay? So now the ordinate at 2 is 0, the ordinate at 4 is 200. So if I take the average of this, 200 by 2 multiplied by this will give me the volume of water, okay, right? So this is how I can calculate how much is the volume of water between all the intervals, okay? So what I'll do is I'll take the sum of all these ordinates, okay? Sum of all these ordinates, okay, see, sum of all the ordinates are multiplied with 60 into 60 into 2, which is giving you the volume of water, okay? So the volume of water that was flowing. So you calculate how much is volume. Now you want to calculate how much is the depth of runoff. So to calculate the depth of runoff, what you should do is the total effective rainfall is calculated for a catchment area. So if I know how much is the area of the catchment, if I divide by the volume, so that will give me how much is the depth of runoff, right? So like from this value, from the numerator, as we know, we have calculated how much is the volume. So divide by the area. So how much is the area of the basin? So the catchment area is 104 square kilometer. So by that total volume is divided by the area, that will give me the runoff depth, okay? So now this runoff depth is calculated in terms of centimeter. So just to not get confused, what I have done is that let us try to calculate the ordinates with all those similar units, okay? So 3600 is representing 3500, not 600, okay, 3500. 3500 is representing the sum of all the direct runoff multiplied by 60 into 2 will give you volume in terms of meter cube, right? Because the direct runoff was in terms of meter cube per second. So meter cube per second multiplied by second will get cancelled, it will be meter cube. So if this meter cube is to be converted in terms of centimeter cube, to do that, what I'll do is I'll multiply it by 100 raised to 3. See here, I have multiplied 100 raised to 3. Now this whole numerator should be divided by the area. So the area is 104 square kilometer, right? So 104 multiplied by 1000 square will give you in terms of meter square. So this meter square should be further converted into centimeter square. So to do that, again I have multiplied by 100 square. So centimeter cube divided by centimeter square will give you depth in terms of centimeter, right? So how much is the centimeter of effective rainfall? So it is 24.2307. So this is your effective rainfall. Now let us understand what is this effective rainfall that I am speaking about. So if at all there is an effective rainfall, means assume that there is some 30 centimeter rainfall has happened. In that 30 centimeter, if I remove 6 centimeter for abstraction, like several abstraction, infiltration, evaporation, evapotranspiration, everything, so 24 centimeter of water has been converted into a runoff. So that is your effective rainfall. So effective rainfall, direct runoff, both are similar, right? So 24 centimeter of effective rainfall has created these ordinates. Okay, these ordinates are developed in the stream, or these discharges are visible in the stream because of effective rainfall of 24.23 centimeter. Okay, now my assumption is that if there is only 1 centimeter of rainfall, what these ordinates would have been. Okay, so what we do is that all these direct runoff ordinates of direct runoff hydrographs are divided by the effective rainfall. How much is the effective rainfall? 24.23. So all these values should be divided by all these ordinates. So see here, so D6 is representing this cell, which is 200. Okay, 200 is divided by the 24.23. Now this ordinate is representing, if there is 1 centimeter of rainfall, 8.3 would be the ordinate. Okay, if it is 24.23 centimeter, 200 would have been the ordinate. Okay, so if it is only 1 centimeter of rainfall, in that case the ordinate would have been 8.3 centimeter. So what I did, so this 200 is divided by the effective rainfall, which is 22.23. I got to know how much is the ordinate in case of only 1 centimeter of rainfall. Now similarly, I'll just solve all the ordinates in a similar manner, and I determine the ordinates for all the intervals. Okay, now this is what the ordinates which are representing if there is an effective rainfall of 1 centimeter. So you can see this curve is representing the unit hydrograph where the ordinates are representing the effective rainfall of 1 centimeter. So if I have to show you, right, so this becomes your ordinates. See, so at 2 hour it is 0, at 4 hour it is 8.3. now similarly at 6 hour it is 24.8. so these are ordinates which are developed only because of 1 centimeter of rainfall. Now this is how we calculate the unit hydrograph in case of when you have the direct runoff hydrograph values. Okay, so first what we did, I'll just quickly explain you all this procedure that are followed in order to calculate the unit hydrograph. First what we do, we have hydrograph values. The hydrograph values are separated from the base flow. You can take any of the 3 methods. There are 3 methods that I already explained you. You can use any of the 3 methods, any one of the 3 methods to separate the base flow from the hydrograph. So that will give you the direct runoff hydrograph. So all these direct runoff hydrograph values are summed up. From this again the runoff depth is calculated, and if the ordinates of direct runoff hydrograph are divided by the effective rainfall or runoff depth, you will get to know how much is the ordinate of unit hydrograph. Okay, so this is the curve which is representing the unit hydrograph. Okay, so the same procedure has been explained here. Select the appropriate storm, uniform rate and coverage, separate the base flow and plot the direct runoff hydrograph, measure the total volume of water that has passed the flow measuring point, and by finding the area under the direct runoff hydrograph curve, calculate the average uniform rainfall depth that produce the DRH. DRH is nothing but the direct runoff hydrograph, by dividing the volume of flow by the catchment area and adjust the hydrograph to represent. Okay, so this is how the unit hydrograph is created. Here, so this is how we derive the unit hydrograph. So in the next class I would be explaining you the assumptions of unit hydrograph, and also I'll solve more problems to derive the unit hydrograph, and I'll tell you what is the importance of solving the unit hydrograph. Okay, thank you.